So, but there's also fat, as we know. So there's the 1% milk and the 2% milk from a cow that you can get, the bovine milk, and so you can remove some fat content. That's what we choose to do. But the lipids are short-chain fatty acids, and the lipids are a good supply both of building block material and also energy. And there's a fair amount of protein in there. What kind of protein? In milk. It's lactoglobulins, alpha beta lactoglobulins. There's some antibacterial activity, lactoferrin. And of course, casein is the main milk protein. So 44% is casein. So then the histology diagram. Same tissue at different times. So I like that kind of story. So it's not just different magnification, and it's not you're not looking at something new or a different area within an organ. You're looking at the same area within an organ, but the timing has changed. So these are, this is the mature inactive situation where there are small ducts but few lobules, and so it's this very underdeveloped network of ducts and lobules that would be producing milk. And so during pregnancy, that picture changes from this inactive situation to something that looks a lot denser. Yeah, this is a well-developed network. But the network is not, the fluid is not so filled, it's not so filled with fluid, but the fluid that is in there is this colostrum stuff. That's got some immunoglobulin A in there, and starts to stockpile a bunch of other things, proteins, leukocytes. So anyway, this is the built-up network, and then this is when that gland really starts to fill with milk, and it's so filled with milk that these structures you call alveoli. So where have we heard the term alveoli before? Lungs, yeah. So remember how lungs were such sparse tissue? There's just some cells. It's mostly space. And it's space because in the lungs, you're breathing, so the air exchange across those membranes is really critical. So it makes sense to have a very, very light structure. And a lot of times the structure really amounts to, one or two cells that are making up a layer and exposed directly to the air. Well, here, these are alveoli, and it's because you want to carry so much milk in here that you only need what look like single cell layers here to hold each one of those little bags of milk, and then you want to dump this stuff into larger ducts. And apparently the carcinomas come from, they're usually ductal carcinomas that result in patients undergoing mastectomies. So that's kind of interesting. So a carcinoma is always an epithelial cancer. That's the definition of the word carcinoma. Carcinoma is an epithelial cell cancer. And most of the cancers are epithelial cancers. So that's kind of interesting. Why is that? Well, there's a lot of epithelial cells, so the density of epithelial cells is greater. But there might be something in addition to that too. So these are the alveoli that develop, mostly at the end of pregnancy, and we see that the myoepithelium is better developed here, and more able to help the secretion of the milk. So this is showing the secretory cells. It's connective tissue, blood vessels. Okay. So just release of milk from cells. Milk lipids. Okay. Any questions about this next exam? So you guys are pretty comfortable with it. I'm not, as I said, I'm going to de-emphasize asking you, what tissue that is. I'm more likely to say, this is the tissue. Point out something interesting here. Show me differences of magnification. Show me the biological maturation of the same tissue, just like we looked at with the breast here. Understanding endocrine function. So endocrine cells with endocrine function tend to be lining around other cells that have important biological function. We saw it in the creation of sperm and the maturation of an oocyte. Let's see. Yeah, same style questions, mostly multiple choice type questions, maybe a couple of columns of matching type of tissue with function, like an endocrine function. Yes?
Are you opposed to practice test?
Am I opposed to what?
A practice test.
A practice test?
Yeah,
Study.
Oh, a pre-test for this. I don't know, I thought it was so close to the end that maybe you guys didn't need to be weaned on a pre-test, but what do you think? You want a pre-test? Yeah. Okay, I can post something. I'll post some sample type questions that I'm thinking of. One of the things that happened is, remember